So we had called to order this regular board meeting of the Urbana Park District Board of Commissioners on Tuesday, July 8th at 7:05 p.m. Now, the board may authorize by a voice vote of physically present board members any commissioners wishing to attend remotely pursuant to the UPD remote attendance policy, but that will not be necessary today. So that will move us to accepting the agenda.
I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Sarah.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so that passes. So that will move us to public comment. Any member of the public may make a brief statement at this time within the public partition rules of the board. Seeing none, then we will move on to UPD staff introductions.
Well, first up is Amy, so Amy, you want to come on up?
Yeah.
So Amy Banner has been here now, what, 2.5 weeks?
2.5 weeks. Yep.
2.5 weeks. And she's our new environmental program manager. She's jumped into the fire of Nature Day Camp.
Well, have a seat, because we're going to grill you. Just kidding.
So yeah, she's been, David was gone for a week, who's been kind of filling in interim while we were in between staff, and he was able to work with her for a few days, and then now he's back, so they'll be working together. She's kind of gone through working with Leslie, our aquatics manager, who's got pretty good extensive training with our ActiveNet and our payroll system, so she's been spending some time there, and we had a big camp meeting, or not camp meeting, but after school program meeting today that she was involved in for about 3.5 hours. So, anyhow, Amy, if you want to tell a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so I come from the world of outdoor education. I was there for like 7 years and then moved into park districts and mostly did environmental programming for public, for schools still, for Boy Scout, Girl Scout groups. And through all of that, I kind of realized how much I loved it once I stepped away from it. I was at Extension for a brief period of time and worked with volunteers, so just bringing everything together is really what I'm looking forward to here, is getting back into the nature, and it's really my passion. So on the days that you don't want to go to work, you realize that you can go outside and walk the trails and hang out with kids and play a game of sharks and minnows, and you decide to go. So it's really, it's really a great thing.
Glad you're here.
Thanks, Amy.
Next week, Luke Fisher. Luke, do you want to come on up?
Yeah.
So Amy's been here for 2.5 weeks. Luke's got her beat. He's been here for about 2 weeks. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Luke prior worked with Public Works. He was Assistant Public Works Director. Also active with the Illinois Emergency Management Group. Am I saying that right?
IPW man.
Yep. Yeah. So, you want to tell a little bit about yourself?
I've done public works for 19.5 years. From storm sewers, parks, streets, sewer systems, and like Derek said, Illinois Public Works Mutual Aid Network. I was a duty officer with them. Did multiple things for storm damage and all that stuff, activated all that stuff. So coming here has been a blessing. You can like centralize on something just on part, and I never had that. You were over everything. So it makes me feel better. The staff here has been phenomenal. I love coming to work. And Derek, I spent the first 3 days here. I got to spend a little bit with Shane, I think an hour.
That's right.
Not all the knowledge I got out of that.
Yes.
But working with Derek for those 3 days, I hope someday that I can get an 1/8 of the knowledge he has on all these parks.
Amen.
It's amazing, in the history. And I love all these parks. I didn't even know these parks existed, some of them. So I'm very thankful for this job and position and the staff and all the administration. I really appreciate this opportunity.
Excellent. All right, and next we've got Jake's going to introduce Alex. Come up, guys.
Hi guys, I'm introducing Alex Ambrosio, our new aquatics maintenance specialist. He came to us in May of '24 originally as a seasonal in the landscape department, and then started with us as our part-time year-round seasonal in November of '24, and recently brought him on. We're excited to have him. He's studying landscape architecture at Parkland right now. Yeah, he's a hardworking kid, and we're excited to have him.
Alex, anything you want to share?
Speech.
It's a really nice place to work at. Like you said, I started back in May of '24, came on as a seasonal for landscaping, and I've been doing that pretty much my whole life, and that's something I really like and enjoy doing. So that kind of brought me to my major now, which is landscape architecture. Obviously, working at the pool now really gives me a unique point of view on multiple designs and everything of different landscapes and everything. So I like what I'm studying in school, and I hope to take that further someday and maybe work for the park district designing stuff, and it's fun stuff. So I really like it. I really like my job and what I do and the people I work with. So it's really good.
It's been a great duo. It's been a great summer already. So thank you both.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Pools look great, or the pool looks great. I'm sure the indoor pool will look great too when you open it.
It will, yeah. It's in pieces right now.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, well then, that will move us up to appointments for the 2025-2028 UPDAC class.
Yeah, thank you so much. So that time of year that we have to say, go ahead. Thank you so much for the comment. But we have to say goodbye to those who have served us for 3 years, but also an opportunity for us to welcome some new folks to the UPDAC community and get those fresh concepts, but also help spread the word to people who really got that deep dive with us before. So we have 4 members completing their terms and 2 resignations. So we presented 3 applicants to the board for this meeting. It is the staff's recommendation that the applicants listed below be appointed. And just a few things to mention. We're really excited. Well, we're really excited about all 3, so please don't take that in sort of way. But Matt is coming to us from the King Park area, which is a neighborhood that historically has been tough for us to get some representation from. So we're really grateful that he's going to bring that new perspective to the UPDAC committee. Him and Carmen both have been serving on the King Park steering committee, so they're already have that involvement and been part of that process, which is fantastic. And then Sarah was brought to us by Carol Trimble from UPS, so I'm excited that Carol was advocating for the UPDAC committee. So we're currently working with another candidate for hopefully another future application. And I think you all received 1 more that we'll have for the August, maybe 2, but at least 1 more for the August board meeting. So.
I move to approve the following candidates to serve a 3-year term as part of the 2025-2026 class for Urbana Park District Advisory Committee, or UPDAC. The candidates are Sarah Curtis, Matthew Fletcher, and Carmen Franks. Second.
It's moved and seconded. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Ashley.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. We look forward to our new UPDAC members. And that brings us to our UPDAC report. And she says has provided a report for the June UPDAC meeting. Any comments on the June UPDAC meeting?
Yeah, we were both there. I will just point out a quick error. It does say under new business that Katie presented on the 2025 CARES plan. That was Kelsey. So, just in case anybody was wondering who Katie is. Yeah, but it was a really really wonderful presentation by Kelsey. She went through just what the strategic plan process was, and actually the history of it for the park district over the last couple of decades, and just a nice warm-up to us getting ready to do another strategic planning process in the near future. So, and followed by also the CARES plan, which followed a very similar structure. So, yeah, there was a lot of great dialogue in my opinion. Not to say you guys
No, I now
report.
remember it. Yeah, they had a lot of great things to contribute.
Yeah, so.
Excellent.
One thing I remember particularly was there's a lot of interest in the You Belong Here colors, like more than the pillar, almost sort of the foundation or umbrella for everything we're doing these days. It was really supported by a lot of the community.
Awesome, that's definitely how I've been feeling about that for a while now, so. I'm
We
glad to
we
hear.
can let them know that one of our commissioners was saying the same thing.
Yeah, good deal. All right. That brings us to our consent agenda. So, all action information items appearing below are considered routine by the board and shall be enacted by one motion. If discussion is desired, that item shall be removed and discussed separately. Commissioners have had an opportunity to review these items prior to the board meeting. Are there any items from the consent agenda that any commissioners wish to discuss? Hearing none, I will go over what the items are. Approval of the minutes of the June 3rd, 2025 study session meeting. Approval of the minutes of the June 3rd, 2025 executive session. Approval of the minutes of the June 10th, 2025 regular board meeting. Approval of the minutes of the June 10th, 2025 executive session. Approval of the minutes of the June 13th, 2025 special board meeting. Our 3 monthly reports being administration, planning, operations, and recreation. Actions to accept philanthropy report and gifts listed with gratitude. Approval of the monthly pay and accounts payable. And action on resolution 2025-07 to enter into a tenant lease agreement for 2808 South Gray Street. I do have a motion for the consent agenda.
I move to approve all the action items on the consent agenda and accept all of the information items listed on the consent agenda. And I'll move this. Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Sarah.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
That passes unanimously. So that moves us on to our regular reports, starting with financial reports.
Okey doke. My reports are out of order. Sorry. Okay. We'll start with the revenues and expenditures report. This report is a view of the prior 12-month period, the budget for the current period, and preliminary unaudited results for 2 months ending on June 30th, 2025. Page 1 of this report is labeled Sum 1. This is all funds excluding our capital improvements fund. And noting here that revenues for the period were $5,776,442. Noting that we have received just slightly over 50% of our property tax distributions, 2 of them in the month of June. Typically we have one in May. If you guys recall, I mentioned that a lot of our fund balances were negative. That's because we didn't have our tax money yet. But so we got 2 distributions in June reflected here. And then expenditures reflect $1,986,266, bringing us to a surplus after 2 months, meaning an excess of revenues over expenses of $3,790,177. Page 2 is the capital improvements fund standalone. And here we are showing total revenues of $3,500 and total expenditures of $26,228. This is a deficit for this fund, and meaning expenditures exceed revenues of $22,727. And the third page is all funds district-wide, and here we're noting that the ending fund balance for the district as a whole, the very bottom line, lower right, $13,430,708. The remaining pages here are the working funds of general recreation and museum, with the last page being the indoor pool UIAC fund. Moving to the second set of reports, these are our treasurer's reports. This is a report of the amount of cash the district has on a single day, being June 30th, 2025. This report lists all the funds down the left-hand side, 25 total, and across the top is where the cash is invested. And investments to date in the lower right-hand corner, $14,460,175.13. Page 2 is 2 reports. The top section lists the amounts that we have in interest-bearing accounts. Of the $14,460,000 mentioned on page 1, $11,141,743.55 is invested in accounts at varying rates of interest. We're still in the 4% range, so we've been maturing our CDs to take care of our presence obligation. Yes.
Is this the last time we're going to see this gray box?
Likely,
Okay.
not quite.
Oh, okay.
Might be another month, but it'll be nice to get that off the plate. So, we only have a couple of CDs left. So now that we've met our obligation, we are now going to be rebuilding again, getting back into and getting more CDs and getting money out of liquid and into back into Illinois funds, back into IPTLAB, and so forth. So, yeah, this should change visually quite a bit. The bottom section here is our interfund loaned activity. There was no activity during the month of June. And the third page is the distributions for the month of June. This includes vendor payments, which match the accounts payable report in the consent agenda, as well as payroll. So total disbursements of funds, $1,187,260. And are there any other questions about the treasurer's report? Okay. Seeing none, I present to you the report, treasurer's report for audit.
I move to accept the treasurer's report for audit.
Okay.
It's moved and seconded. We'll do a roll call vote. So, Ashland?
Aye.
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 Okay.
That passes unanimously. That moves us to capital budget report.
Yep, capital budget reports. These are, it's going to be really like this month. I really like that, but it's still doing April and June, so we're getting past having to run 2 months. But page 1 here is the 2019 ARS bond capital improvements budget. Here at the very bottom, we reflect some activity for April as well as June. $589 was expense for miscellaneous FF&E, furniture, fixtures, equipment for Hawk. That was during April, and then $7,338 during the month of June. This was to purchase picnic tables and benches. Page 2 is 2025, our current, most current budget. Here, the only activity is the receipt of $2,315 auction proceeds from the sale of one of our fleet vehicles. The next page is the 2024 budget. Here we have a couple of June expenditures, $2,466 to Brickworks for parking barrier stone. This appears in another budget as well for the total bill. And then $6,552 paid to Neverman using our clapback capital expense line for tile repairs. And then at the very bottom, $29,940 to Splashtacular for number 4. Pay 2023 budget, next page. We have one expenditure using construction crew projects. This is the other portion of the Brickworks bill for parking barrier stones, $1,523. Next page, 2022. Expenditures using tributes and donations, $722 for nameplates using the April, expensed in April, and then $674 for plaques in June. And a little further down, we've got $4,385 paid to ILM doing our water treatments at Crystal Lake Park. And then the last two budgets, 21 and 20, had no new activity in the month of April or June. Are there any questions on the capital budgets? Awesome. Thanks. I'll send it over to Derek. Andy.
Okay, so I'll start with our Weaver project, the joint project we have for DCO funds with Forest Preserve districts. I think last meeting, Forest Preserve District is looking to put out their bid for the remaining trail work in Champaign and Vermilion County this month. I checked the website today. That bid has not been publicized yet. So I'm guessing it'll be out later this month, and then I think we were thinking potentially they would have a board action in August or September. I'm guessing it'll probably be more likely September at this point, since we're getting close to halfway through July. Moving to our trailhead portion of the work. So last meeting, it was the week that our engineered shop drawings were due from the prefabricated structure. It's from the company called Polygon. We still do not have the engineered drawings at this point, so we've been kind of going back and forth trying to find a good contact with them. Usually we work with a third-party sales group, but we've actually got some contacts with Polygon. It seems like they have multiple phases of engineering that their drawings go through before they get stamped and approved, and then it goes into fabrication. It had moved its way through a number of those phases, I guess the third phase of engineering, and it got kicked back to phase one, had to go through again. There was some sort of issue that they wanted to rectify with the engineer drawings. I don't have a specific on what that was at this point. But I did get a date that they're anticipating right now to have those drawings to us or approved and ready for fabrication of the structure July 25th. So we asked if there's any way to expedite this process. They said no. It's as tight as a schedule as they can do right now, and they try to get everything out as quick as possible. So then, asking what our lead time is on the structure once we have the approved drawings, it's 10 to 12 weeks. So that's getting us into late fall until we may have the structure actually at our site. So the good news is the Forest Preserve District had already applied for and asked for an extension of the grant, so we're not up against any sort of grant deadline. But it is quite a bit more of a delay than what we were anticipating, obviously. We did ask if there was an option to expedite the fabrication process, and I was also told no on that one too. So, but at least we're asking, we're trying. So that's where that project's at currently. I'll talk to the contractor more and see what their level of interest is in doing any sort of site or prep work earlier, but I think they're probably not going to get out to the site to do any construction work until probably a few weeks before they're expecting the pavilion to be on site, so, which is understandable. So change orders. I wanted to give an update on where we're at on the project with change orders. I know there's a couple new commissioners, but I believe you both were here in the audience when we were approving this contract. So the contract is not through the Park District. It's held by the Champaign County Forest Preserve District. There was no contingency assigned at the meeting. That's typically what we do when we award contracts, so it kind of just goes through their typical process of change orders. And what we let the board know is that as we get change orders through the project, we'll just make you all aware of it. So we have one executed change order, that's the $3,850, and that was to do some additional costs so we could meet our DVE goals for the state. Change order 2 is $13,532. That's pending right now. We're basically waiting on just getting some signatures. When we had the extension of the parking lot itself, that was an alternate that we accepted when we awarded the bid. That, what we believed at the time, included an additional parking lot light pole and fixture. It was actually not in the drawings, so this now rectifies that and brings in a third light pole for the parking lot. The water fountain, during the submittal process, we get submittals of a lot of different things that they do, then we approve them, and the architect approves them as well, an engineer, before they got to purchase them. We got the water fountain submittal, realized it's not the brand that we typically use in all of our parks. In the bid specs, it gave 3 options for drinking fountains. That it was one of the options, it's just not a preferred model that we have. We want to be consistent with what we use elsewhere. So that had a cost impact as well. But so that's that pending one right now. So, moving forward, I'll wait another month or 2. I don't anticipate a lot of change orders in the next couple months, but we'll make sure we keep everyone updated as we go. And so the last thing was on King Park Playground. I think last meeting we were in the process with the RFP. So this is just the playground portion of their overall master planning work that's getting done for King Park and an upcoming OSLAD grant application. We had an RFP out in May. Proposals were due June 13th. We gave all of our prospective playground sales companies a $150,000 budget. We gave them the footprint, the area that they could work in, and theming options. So that was either MLK, King Elementary School, or the Urbana Park District's You Belong Here initiative. We also had some stipulations. We wanted to make sure that you include the 2 to 5 play area as well as a 5 to 12. And using a lot of different varieties of play amenities. So we had 5 playground representatives submit. They gave us 9 playground options, so they could give a max of 2. So one group gave us 1 instead of 2, everyone else gave us 2. And then we did a staff committee, reviewed those 9 options, and we chose 4 that went out to Jetty Roads Day. So then, as promised, I said I would have some playground pictures. See if I can zoom in a little bit. So this is a Burke playground that's sold through Play, Illinois. Again, we had 4 different playgrounds at Jetty Roads Day. Keenan tabulated our sticky dots. I think there's a little bit more than 100 total votes, and there is not a clear winner. Turns out a lot of kids like a lot of playground. I mean, there's a lot of times we do have a really clear winner. Meadowbrook Prairie Play, we had a pretty clear, I mean, it was pretty clear throughout the process. So this was the top vote getter, but I think the top 3 playgrounds were all separated by less than 5 sticky dots. So it's really close.
We use a scorecard that includes public input as part of our evaluation, so we want to take a closer look at the scorecard and see if it helps to tease out what is the best playground for King Park.
And so for the most part, we left the playgrounds as they submitted to us. When we were reviewing as a staff, we did have some tweaks that we wanted to see made, so we worked to get some of those items done. So for this playground, they had like a pony teeter, rocker things, so we
Everything they tore out of the parks like 20 years ago.
So we asked for another spinning type of amenity as well. So you can see they had Dream shows up a lot in theming for all these playgrounds in different languages as well. And so, let's see. Okay, this is a Little Tykes Playground through all-inclusive rec. See the Dream theming here. We did adjust something on this playground as well. There was a net climber that was appearing in the original design that was exactly like the net climber we had at Prairie Play. So we know we don't want to do that. We want to keep things interesting and variable at all of our playgrounds. Don't want to skew any votes either. If someone just sees that that's already existing somewhere and they don't want to pick it, kind of want to remove that as an option. So this is an alternative climbing structure. I think it's pretty neat. I think we were actually looking at this as well for Prairie Play.
I feel like the shade on the song.
Okay, this is Cunningham Recreation. It's a game time playground. We changed some color schemes on this one. They had white posts originally, which is not not really appealing to us, so we asked for some changes on that. There's a lot of monarch theming in this one as well, so that ties in with King Park, and that's on some other playgrounds too, but there's a lot of color and some butterfly amenities as well. And then the last one, which got a decent amount of votes, but it was definitely not in the running with the other three, was from Compan. And so they had a lot of theming, I think community and different languages. I see these multicolored hands that were with the rocker here in the middle, which I thought was pretty cool as well. So as part of the process, they had to give us a lot of different information, but we also asked them to give us a poster, basically. So what you're seeing here tonight is all the posters, where we wanted to have a couple different rendered views and kind of an aerial view to see how it all lays out together. And so that's kind of what was at our booth for Jetty Roads Day, which was a pretty successful event overall, I think.
Isn't Compan like,
Fine.
Compan stuff is usually a little bit more interesting. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree.
I asked a child as they were leaving, like, what was your favorite part of the day? He was about 10 years old. I got to choose the new playground. Awesome. Well, I know what you did, right? Otherwise, I feel shattered.
Yeah, that's it. If there's any other questions on any other projects or anything else, I'm happy to answer.
Have those four been presented to the planning, the, like, King Park committee? Or no? Just Jetty Roads?
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
We also have some feedback from the overall master plan board that we received. We'll send that to them as well.
Excellent.
What does DD stand for?
Disadvantaged business enterprise. So it's a minority women-owned business. It's basically, we had goals that we were required to meet through the grant for the state.
Thank you. That leads us to our executive director report.
Thank you so much. The staff put together a great You Belong Here report that I'm sure you all read through, but just a few things I wanted to highlight. And I know some of you have heard me, Derek and I had the opportunity to meet with a woman who utilizes a wheelchair and who started a petition for an accessible swing in one of our parks. Specifically, it was born of Prairie Play. And so she has a goal of reaching 5,000 signatures on this petition. And we saw it as a great opportunity to bring her in, hear her story, have the opportunity to explain our process as to how Urbana Park District is incredibly thorough in receiving community feedback and why some of the choices were made, which, come to find out, when we told her about the merry-go-round and how that, our hope was, it really is inclusive play, that a kiddo in a wheelchair can be on the merry-go-round with their peers. She was really excited about that. So I think the opportunity just to bring her in and for her to feel heard was really helpful, but also saying, here's kind of our timeline for future park developments, and seeing something like an accessible swing is definitely something that I know Derek and I are always encouraged by. And so got a really positive response, and an email from her, and I actually went to print it out, so I apologize, but essentially it just said, this is the first time that I feel seen and heard, and I didn't have to fight for it. It's just for my voice to be heard and to feel cared about. It really meant a lot to her. So, I feel comfortable speaking for both of us that Derek and I both felt very encouraged. So, yeah, excited to see her continued involvement moving forward. But just another, I just thought that was a really great interaction, and looking forward to meeting with her more. This has been brought up by Laura in the past, so I just wanted to highlight it as part of the report. Voyager Nets is something that Corky and our marketing team has been working on. What the report doesn't mention is that when people sign up to receive these text messages, they can choose their language of choice. So they'll receive it in whatever their language of choice is, they can send it in their language of choice, and then it will translate it for us to respond. So I just thought that was a really important point. And so that's something that the community can look forward to this fall. Let's see. Oh, and then I wanted to give a shout out to Kern and her staff and Corky for going above and beyond to make sure the Juneteenth celebration happened this year. A storm, the power going out, I mean, just everything that could and would happen did, and yet she still pushed forward to make sure that that celebration happened. And a shout out to Mayor Deshaun Williams for making the time to attend to still be able to give that Juneteenth proclamation. So, and then I don't know if you saw this, but Karen left this on my desk. She has an article in the, what is this, the Neighbors of Southwest Champaign about the Urbana Park District offering free monthly injury screenings for the community. So I just thought that was really cool. Yeah, just a nice little other touch point. So, but anyway, beyond that, as I reported last month, I've had lots of meetings. That trend will continue. So I don't want to bore you with all of that, but I also don't want you to wonder, what the heck is she doing? So I have started doing one-on-one meetings with all of our management team members. And in the near future, we'll be doing one-on-one meetings with all of our coordinators. I want them to, I want them to feel heard and seen, and I want them to know that I'm accessible to them should they ever need anything. And so, every meeting I have, it's just another reminder of what amazing staff we have at the Urbana Park District. This community is truly blessed to have these people who are so passionate about what they get to wake up every morning and provide for the community, and that's the responses that I'm getting, which gives me goosebumps. It's wonderful. So those will continue. And my plan with that, which I believe I mentioned during my interview process, is just to see where are some areas that we can maybe improve. What are we doing really well that we can celebrate, and how can I take this information, share it with the leadership team, and just continue to make UPD even better. So, and then I wanted to give a shout out. Andy mentioned how great Jenny Rhodes was. This is my first time behind the grill. It was hot, but I did man the grill with the boys. So, but I mean, there were a ton of staff there, which was fantastic to see. And our ever faithful parking guard, Laura, for turning all of the very angry patrons away that didn't want to walk. So it was, I will say, it was wonderful to see all the different agencies that come together for this event. Somewhere around 70 vendors. And Katie took me around and introduced me to some of the vendors that we work with more frequently. There are some really wonderful services in this community. I mean, just absolutely wonderful people trying to make, Champaign County a better place. So it was really eye-opening to me. I was really grateful to be a part of it. But, yeah. So, and then Corky wanted to share some updates for pool attendance and maybe some updated numbers.
Yeah. So I've got the Health and Wellness Center pulled up first, and some UPDAC board members may have, they've heard some of this, but they've improved a little bit since then. So just real quickly, as you all may remember me saying, our goal was to have 800 memberships. We have 1,683 memberships. We've given away 272 OSF scholarships for an amount of $22,321 over $30,000, and that's roughly 6 months now at this point. We have 250 silver sneakers, so that's great. So all in all, everything's going well. We've got, it was kind of cool when summer camp started. We've got a whole new vibe. Hearing a lot from the regular participants that are coming in, and they're excited to see the youth in there. It's pretty cool to see. So again, had lots of rental groups and partner groups that have used the facility, so everything is going really well with that. Moving on to the pool. This is real brief, but we've been able to recover a little bit from the first couple of weeks when the weather wasn't so great to start a pool season. So last year, in 2024, pool memberships to now, or yesterday, we had 4,696 memberships. This year we got 4,644, so pretty close. Daily admission numbers, last year we had 18,874 admissions, and this year we have 18,598. So we're real close. Last year was a pretty good year as well. We've had a few of those back to back. So
you got that number, but you can add one more to it, because I got my pool membership.
one more. So yeah, so total attendance was, and this is just memberships and daily admissions. Last year was 23,570 at this time, and now we're at 23,242. So recovered in the last couple of weeks. It's been really hot, as everybody knows. So that's all I wanted to input.
Actually, I did have just one question that we wanted. Did we have like a estimated rollout point for the Voyager nets?
I just know we're looking at this fall. I don't know if there's a specific month that we're aiming
So we have rain out line. So this will replace rain out line. We actually have rain out line that will go through the end of the year. So we're hoping to bring on the Voyager nets early fall. So then we can get people on rain out line the information so they can log,
Right.
change, switch over. Just one last piece on that, since you brought it up. Remember in the last study, one of the things that was being said from a communication standpoint was more information only about what I'm interested in.
Right.
Right? So this is going to be a tool we can use to where if you only want to hear about the environmental programs, we can be sending you blasts for that versus everything else. Right? So it was a fairly reasonable cost, $1,500 a year to try it and see if it makes a difference. So we've heard mixed results on text messaging, but I think part of that is based on how well you can get it rolled out, right? So hopefully all the people that are part of Rain Out Line that we've had for 7-8 years now will immediately get into this system and it'll make it a lot better.
I think that opt-in choice of what you want information about is definitely like a really big factor, right? Because people don't want a dozen text messages a day, but they want the relevant information. So I think that factor hopefully will translate to people signing up.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right, so, oh no, it's my turn. So this is President's report. I'm just going to highlight a few upcoming things. There's not an update meeting in July. Our next special board meeting, July 11th, combined budget and appropriation ordinance. August 5th study session, August 12th regular board meeting, and then August 26th up deck meeting that we got King Park. Sharing some information that you just shared with us. And I guess that's really all I have for that. So then we'll go on to liaison reports. Finance study group.
Sure, we met before this board meeting. And really just a discussion of, organizing ourselves for the first part of the rest of the calendar year, I guess I would say. So I don't think we have anything really. We just talked about the schedule events and topics that we were going to be covering.
Policy study group.
We're setting up meeting dates right after this meeting.
Excellent. Parks Foundation.
Yeah, this since we're off, the foundation will meet on Monday, so we have not met since the last board meeting.
Okay. And then up deck planning.
We met in April, and we'll meet again in January.
Okay. That moves us on to old business. If there were any things removed from the consent agenda, this is where we would then discuss them. But seeing none, that moves us to new business, and that begins with action to approve sculpture purchase agreement.
Yeah, thank you. So there's been some discussion over the last several months that I have been catching myself up on. But we have two really outstanding pieces in our sculpture garden by John Isherwood, previous executive director Tim Bartlett, did a phenomenal job building that relationship, which led to Mr. Isherwood giving us one heck of a deal on these two sculptures after giving Angel. And behind the scenes, the staff have done a wonderful job of, well, I should say the foundation has done a wonderful job of gathering donations and an opportunity to purchase these two pieces of art in honor of Tim Bartlett and his decades of service to the Urbana Park District. And I'm happy to report, as of today, the foundation has raised $41,483.71. I should note, because Kelsey told me to, that we will have to subtract credit card processing fees. So, but it still is over the $40,000. It's all said and done. So, what we're asking is that the board then consider covering the other half of that expense. Both those sculptures are $40,000 apiece, but utilizing the Brown Fund as it is to expand our public art throughout our parks and finalizing that purchase.
I move that the Urbana Park District Board of Commissioners approve the sculpture purchase agreement to acquire two sculptures by John Isherwood for the permanent collection after Givney and the Givney Angel Urbana Parks Foundation mounted a fundraising campaign to acquire at the Givney and the Givney Angel in honor of retired Executive Director Tim Bartlett's decades of service to the Urbana Park District. Over $40,000 has been raised through donations with the Brown Fund available to fill in the remainder needed for the $80,000 total purchase.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. We'll do a roll call vote, starting with Sarah.
Aye.
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 That passes unanimously. And so then this is going to move us to any remaining new business, which there is none. Open floor to comments from commissioners.
I'm just going to say, once you're a Park District person, you're always a Park District person. I had to call a billiards pool place to get a felt replaced on the fraternity that I work with. And the guy goes, I was your worst nightmare at the pool. He goes, this is Laura, the lifeguard, calling me. And I'm like, oh my God. Then he told me his name. I said, you weren't the worst. You worked for me eventually. But anyway, so you just never leave it, right? So that impression you make is always there. That was fun. Awesome.
I had a comment / suggestion from a patron, also known as my sister-in-law, to request more picnic tables in like the shaded area of Meadowbrook at Prairie Plains.
Yeah.
Like she said, at one point there was more, and I don't know if we just had to like toss some due to rot or whatever over the years, but she said there wasn't as many as there used to be.
Okay.
And she would like to see more.
Especially these days, right?
Yes. Particularly in the shaded area, obviously. I got lots of comments about how great the other benches are with like the artwork and the flowers on them. My stepdad particularly really liked that sound. He didn't realize you could like talk into some of them. And he was like, wait, they're functional? I was like, and we're always in one, yes.
Awesome.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that I missed the last board meeting because I was at the IAPD board member boot camp, and I really appreciated that session. It was really great. So appreciated that opportunity.
Well, total kudos to all our operations, rec staff. The parks look great. The neighborhood nights, everything, they get everything ready and it looks so good. So thank you very much. Just, and you could pass that on to them too. Let them know that we see it and we see all their hard work and we really appreciate it. And so does the community.
Thank you.
Well, and then, at this point, we have a plan to move to executive session. Is there a motion?
In accordance with Section 2, Part C, Exemption 21 of the Illinois Open Meetings Act, I move to adjourn to executive session for the purposes of the semi-annual review of executive session minutes.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, Secretary Ashline.
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye.
Passes unanimously. I'm going to go.
Yeah.